This was a, hey, look, the three-pointers fell and it was an easy win sort of game. And that's kind of what it felt like. There's some moments where the Celtics played some decent defense, but at the end of the day, they made a ton of three-point shots and they won. But Bobby's going to tell me why it was more complicated than that.
Well, the Rob Williams injury ended up being a blessing in disguise because you finally saw the Celtics look like something resembling that team that beat the Raptors last year. I was worried about this game tonight before we knew Rob was not going to be playing a couple hours before the game because the Celtics lumbering, too big lineup against this transition attack didn't sound great to me. Now, I know OG Anunoby was out for Toronto. That's a big loss for them, but I was still worried because you had Siakam rolling. He still had a pretty good game. Lowry's been great for them. They've won 5 of 6. You knew this was going to be a much different game than the first absolute blowout out there, but Semi gets the spot start. They stay wing heavy all night. There's spacing. There's driving lanes against those Toronto bigs, and I loved all the things they did offensively in this one. I thought this was the best offensive system, lineups, putting the ball in Tatum and Brown's hands all night. That was awesome. Game planning for this one, getting Kemba off the ball. You saw adjustments there to get him rolling. So this is all in all the best offensive night of the season for the Celtics, and it's no mistake that they did it with spacing, with wings, and with speed and versatility on the floor.
The best offensive night. Oh, I can't even hear John now. I can't hear you, John.
How do I sound, though? Do I sound better?
No, you sound
a little
bad,
buried. This might become the Bobby and Jimmy show for a minute.
Do I sound
We don't have you. We don't have you, John.
Really low.
We don't have John. Josue is 1,000 miles away from his microphone, apparently. Bobby, we'll go. But the funny thing you say is the best offensive night for the Celtics all season. Looking at the stat sheet, you go and you look. You see Jaylen Brown 12 points and Jayson Tatum 17 points. It's crazy to think that the best offensive night would occur with those players putting up those points. But you got, like you said, you got contributions from players tonight that you rarely get to that extent. Talking about Shemi, obviously, but the way Kemba Walker had an interesting night. I mean, 20 points or 21 points, all from the 3-point, whereas all the field goals he was hitting. But then you look at the assists from Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. That really stood out to me. And I think it was Scal on the broadcast said that Jay Larranaga, I could be getting the names wrong, but mentioned that their game plan tonight was to make sure that Tatum and Brown moved the ball around because they knew the Raptors were going to be coming out hard against those two guys. So credit to them for moving that ball around, getting guys open, and credit to guys like Pritchard and Shemi for hitting the shots.
You got me?
We got you.
I got you.
Yeah.
You guys got me?
Yeah, Josue.
Josue, you're good. So let's get something from you on
We're
this
all
one.
here.
Yeah, and Josue, let's get something from you. You're at the Garden again. Everybody's gonna make fun of Josue right now. Turn the camera on once for the fellas.
Yeah, you gotta remind everyone over and over.
Remind them where we are. Okay.
I'm frozen. It looks like
He's at the Garden.
Here's a question. Why can't you do the show with that view? Why are you in the dungeon?
because I can't sit my laptop anywhere. It's gonna fall in the sky. So
I know, but you gotta tough it out. It's for the show. Just hold it. Make it
just prop it up.
Okay?
That's an incredible forearm workout.
Yeah,
You're
just
offering us
hold
zero
it.
visual.
Right.
Then I'm gonna look like I'm holding a hostage sign.
We gotta get you. We gotta get it next time, John. We gotta get him with the selfie stick on the iPhone. That's what we gotta get him.
The people are worried. Yes.
Okay, there it is.
All right, but no, let's get back to. Let's get back to
answer why they're making him wear that around him, it's really, really, really strict protocols, guys. I'll let you know. A very limited amount of media gets to go every game. They're really spaced out. Nobody can go anywhere at any time, and Josue can attest to it. It's really, really tight there, even though it's a huge empty building.
Yeah, it is. You know what else, John? It's tough to do a report with this mask on when your nose keeps popping out. So you know what I did for halftime? I tied this guy up, right? And then everyone got the jokes because my mask is flopping around as I'm talking. Everyone's got to chime in and be like, "Look at this clown." So I guess that was fun, but it's all an adjustment. Yeah, I need to find the right. You know what it is, man? It's just this. I got this going on, man. It's just.
Well, Josue,
every mask is a little off. You know.
Josue, we love all of it. We love it.
If you're wearing 2 masks, it wouldn't be an issue. But go on.
All right, but yeah, let's get back to this game. Listen, yeah, of course, spacing means everything for the Celtics team, but when the Celtics team isn't knocking down 3-pointers, which is what they've been doing all season long, that's the problem. Really, Jimmy? You got to do that right now? What is that?
My
Ice?
bad, bro. I didn't know you could hear me.
So,
moving.
yeah, when the shots are falling, I think obviously this team is clearly a different team. We saw that against the Raptors. And yeah, defensively, I think what we saw in the paint, the way they were protecting the rim, it was all hands on deck. That's the sort of effort I want to see. But it's easy to be that engaged when you're draining 4 3-pointers in the first half or the first quarter. Like when these guys when they get their offense going, everyone clicks, and you see that on defense. But it's hard to pinpoint when these guys are when Shemi going to be able to do this all the time, or maybe next game is Grant Williams. But credit to Brad Stevens, because his approach in this game was brilliant. He had to make sure Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown did the absolute most they could to set up the other guys. Open looks, because there were going to be plenty of them. This was sort of the formula for a team like the Raptors, right? The athleticism, the defense, guys that can score, obviously, and Lowry and guys who can get going, but they predicate on their defense. The Celtics kicked them in the mouth from the 3-point arc, and it was like they were playing catch-up. Even though they did stay, they kept their distance, or the Celtics kept their distance, they still hung around throughout that fourth quarter until Semi Ojeleye started hitting more threes. Payton Pritchard started hitting more threes, and then they put him away. But
So
again,
I mean,
it's about spacing, but they have to make those shots.
everything looks great when you got two guys going 6 of 8 from the 3-point line, which is, I mean, again, you have a high assist.
Yeah, but that's not what it was. This wasn't pull up and splash all night. This was getting into the lane, getting into that restricted zone, and making incredible passes the way Jaylen Brown did.
Who did that?
The numbers look great for you. I'm not trying to be negative. It's great when those shots fall. But, I mean, it is a team that is overly reliant on the 3-pointer. It's just, you're right. If you're going to manufacture the shots that way, it certainly is better. It's not dribble out the clock and then pass it around the perimeter and somebody's got to eventually shoot, so someone jacks a 3. They were better looks. You were getting a lot of Semi got a lot of open looks, all game. So hats off for making them. But a few more of those don't fall, and it's a super tight game. So, it was, and 30 assists becomes 20-something assists. So, it's, again, I hate doing the make-miss league thing, but it's great when you knock down those threes.
You love it.
Well, when they don't make them, we sit here and we say, wow,
we would have criticized
3, But this was a great one. I mean, who do you guys want to start with? I know, Bobby wants to do the entire show and maybe a week's worth of shows on Semi Ojeleye playing his first good game in 13 games.
Tonight would be a great night if we can get 10 comments right now. It might convince these two to finally do the semi-apology cam.
No, that's not
Bobby does not understand how the apology cam works, okay? This is
Oh, boy.
It doesn't exist.
Semi Ojeleye's numbers for this season, outside of tonight, are identical to his career numbers, which means Semi Ojeleye is the player he's always been. It's awesome to get a night like this.
Doesn't he look different to you, though?
He went 12 games. He had one good burst 12 games ago where he scored 18 points, and then he reverted to being what? Semi Ojeleye for 12 straight games. And then this guy shows up. And we love when this guy shows up. It's the same thing when really good Grant Williams shows up 4 or 5 days ago. You can't count on that every single day, but it's great when you have it. The bigger story to me wasn't that Ojeleye had an awesome game. It's that lineup again, when you go away. I think you were right. The thing you said, Bobby, at the beginning of the show, the problem here might not be which big, it's just too many bigs. And when you have 3, all who actually probably deserve minutes at different times, fitting them into the lineup is going to create a lot of double big lineups. It's going to short minutes for guys like Rob, where you want to see him play a little bit more. You're almost better off with 2. You're almost better off with 2 and Grant as that third kind of small ball big than you are having 3 of these guys that are really only playing the 5 position on this team, because it complicates the rotations.
It's obvious that's not the way they want to play. They don't look comfortable in those
They
sets.
don't like it.
They're not effective in it. And then you see them get a few games like this with wings and guards and shooters and ball handlers on the wing, and they look like a version closer to their last year's self. That closing stretch, Tice chasing down Aaron Baines at the rim, Jaylen Brown getting Norman Powell from behind. That was like Game 7, Marcus Smart chasing down Powell to save the series there. This team had more energy defensively with these guys out there. They were able to turn that into offense. That wasn't a perfect night all around. They had massive droughts in that second half between the third and the fourth. The defense definitely slipped early in the fourth, but on the whole tonight, this is about as good as this team has looked all year, and it's no mistake they continue to look that way when a big's down and they can get into their depth wings, who have been pretty great all year, especially when they're not being relied upon for all the spacing.